Oh, ça est là, $50? Yeah. Bon, kemel pou. But, mom. Hey, al fout pour un côté, bon, $50. Mal foin ding.
Sister, you've been on my mind, oh, sister. You're one of a kind, oh, sister. I hope you're having a good Saturday, sister. There's a lot going on, oh, sister. There's a lot going on in my email. Okay. I want to have a discussion with y'all today. I think you guys already know what it's about based on my Instagram. But first off, I want to say something. So I want to start off with something that happened the other day. So the other day, I uploaded a video of me getting a facial at The Enhancers. The Enhancers is a place that I love to go to. Some of you guys know I've gotten my lip injections there. I'm somebody who really wanted to get lip injections for a while, but I was really scared because I've seen like shit go on with other people, and I was like, I don't want to do my shit, and then my shit looks like, I wanted it to be natural, wanted to look good, and so I went there, and one of the girls there, she's one of the social media managers there. Her name's Nikki. Very nice girl. She's Haitian, actually. So if you guys, it's kind of like supporting a Haitian really going to the Enhancers, because you got a Haitian that runs the office, and she's really, really nice. Her name's Nikki. And she was telling me about their facial. I looked at a lot of things I wanted to do. I have discoloration around my eyes. I have like hyperpigmentation around my eyes. I think that's the wording. So I have a lot of things I want to do. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not ready to do a lot of things to my eyes yet. Let me try a facial, because I've never had one. So I go. Mind you, when I step out the house, I usually have tons of things to do. So one thing I'm never going to do is step out the house without my eyebrows. I'm just not going to do it. I'm sorry. Like, something has to look a certain way to me, and my eyebrows have to always look a certain way. So I had my eyebrows on during the facial, and so many people were like pressed about that shit. I was like, y'all niggas is really going in about eyebrows? So like, it's a facial. Like, what happens with your eyebrows? Like, seriously, like, what eyebrow issues do you ever have? Do you guys ever have eyebrow breakouts? Do your eyebrows ever go like, what? So many people were pressed about that shit. So I was like, you know what? I have to do an eyebrow tutorial. So many people were in the comments, and the people that were pressed, I just really feel like it's because they don't know how to do their eyebrows, and I want to make sure that I help you to know how to do your eyebrows. It's 2019. If you don't know how to do your eyebrows and make sure that they are waterproof, I am here to make sure you know that. So I'm definitely going to upload an eyebrow tutorial this week and make sure that all of you guys know how to have your eyebrows on. No matter the weather, your eyebrows gonna stay on. You know how these niggas be like, oh, you gotta take these hoes swimming nowadays. Bitch, you gonna take me swimming and my eyebrows are still gonna be intact. You heard me? So I'm gonna make sure I do that. Okay. Today's subject is toxic Caribbean parents. That's really what I want to talk about today. Toxic Caribbean parents. And I want to start off by saying this. And maybe I'll be able to call some of you guys to come in and talk to me about it. But I just want to start off by saying this. Me saying that Caribbean parents are toxic or have toxic ways is not me saying that they are bad people. Excuse me. It's not me saying that they are bad parents. It's not me saying that they are bad people. It's not me saying that they're horrible. It's just saying they have toxic ways. And I'll give a couple of examples as we go into this live. But I just want to make that clear. When I say Caribbean parents are toxic, I'm not saying that they're bad people. I'm saying that they have ways about them that are unhealthy, especially for the child receiving this type of treatment. It is unhealthy to me. It is not conducive to my well-being, especially when you look over time. It's just not conducive to that. Another thing I want to say is, I had a lot of people say, well, not just Caribbean, because a lot of, if you're Caribbean, drop your flag, let me know if you can relate. But I had a lot of people come in, bitch, sister, add Nigerian parents, add African parents. I see you, Chocolat. Add African parents. And again, I wasn't surprised by that because Haitians are African. We are African people. We are from Benin. We are from West Africa. So I'm pretty sure a lot of the ways that parenting happened in Africa, we carry that with us to the Western Hemisphere, whatever. So I can see that a lot of people can relate. But then what surprised me was I had a lot of African American people come in the comments and they're like, girl, African American parents have a lot of toxic ways. And I was surprised because I remember growing up, I remember thinking, damn, my American friends, they just have such cool relationships with their parents. Like the conversations that they would have with their parents, the way they would just be so open with their parents, it was just different. They were able to go places I wasn't able to go. Like growing up, I was always in jail. Like I was like, and when I say in jail, it was, you're not going to this party, you're not going to this event, you're not doing no after school activities, you're not going to this friend's house, you're not doing anything but l'école, l'église, la caille, meaning school, church, home. So I was always locked up, won't let me out, no, won't let, oh, I'm locked up, won't let, I was like Akon, okay? I was convict music, lock the fuck up, okay? So when I would look at my American friends, I was always like, they just had more of a freedom. Now, as I grew older, I grew to appreciate my mom's parenting because of one simple thing. Because it was preventative, although preventative is not always the best thing, but because it was preventative, she prevented me from experiencing a lot of things that I would see my American friends go through. Like me and my Caribbean friends, our upbringing was so much different. We were always in jail. So it wasn't no teen pregnancies. It wasn't no, going to detention centers for fighting or for, smoking weed. There was no drugs. There was no, there's a lot of different things that I would see my American friends go through that me as a Caribbean child, I just didn't experience because my mother was preventative. So as I grew older, especially like college, when I got to college and, I had a lot of my American friends, they were teen moms and it was hard for them to go to school and be a mom and take care of their kids, and they had to rely on their parents for everything, and that would strain their relationship with their parents. I didn't have that. It was a lot of my guy friends that were in and out of jail. Like, they had been so free as kids, and they carried that into their late teens and early 20s, and they had to pay for that shit. Meanwhile, the most I had to say was, damn, I hate my mama. Like, I'm in college and she's still treating me like I'm a child. Like, when I went to college, when it was time for me to go to college, I told my mom I wanted to leave. And she's like, don't leave. If you leave, soit dans collège, y'a fait sexe avec, fait drogue. Like, she scared me out of leaving for college. And not leaving for college became one of my biggest regrets in life, because I was like, man, even though I would see a lot of the struggle that my other friends would go through, I missed out on so much of that. I've always been an independent person, but I missed out on truly finding myself earlier in life. Like, I feel like in my late 20s is when I'm finding myself and I'm finding my voice and I'm finding who I am as a person. Whereas a lot of my friends, they found themselves in college. They found themselves in those years because they made a lot of mistakes early. A lot of mistakes that I didn't get to make. and I will never make. And sometimes I feel like I missed out on that. But there's pros and there's cons. Like I said, it prevented me from having a lot of mishaps. It prevented me from suffering in a lot of ways, but it stifled me because I didn't fly. I didn't fly the way I should. I didn't propel the way I should have propelled at certain times of my life. Now, there are a lot of, in preventative, Caribbean parents, and I'll say African parents too, the preventative parenting, how they operate in preventative parenting is by putting toxic practices into action. For instance, like, instead of my mom just saying, you know what, I'm not ready for you to leave home, for her to put this fear into my life where I feared for, possibly being raped or possibly being drugged or, that preventive parenting still didn't stop me from being raped. I still went on to be raped. You know what I mean? It didn't prevent that. The beatings and I think the beatings is something I really want to talk about, because when I think about just as a child, just the beatings that I received and the beatings that I would see just my cousins receive. Like, I'll never forget one time I was watching Roots with my mom and she was crying because they had chopped off Kunta Kinte's leg, and I was like, bruh, I mean, you ain't chop off my leg, but you could have. I mean, the way you just whooped my ass for not turning on the stove, bitch, that was Roots-like. That was very much Roots. You was giving me very much plantation owner. You was giving me very much, you a runaway slave, so I'm going to chop off your leg. You was giving me that, sis. You was giving me very much Roots. So I'm not understanding how you over here crying for Kunta. Somebody cry for me. Somebody cry for me, Argentina. Somebody cry for my ass. Okay? Because, bitch, you gave me very much Roots with that beating you just gave me. Okay? So I feel like the beatings, like, they were toxic. It was like, sometimes it was like, okay, was this necessary? Was this necessary? Like, was it necessary to beat me to the point where, like, I have a bruise, like, I'm hurt? You know what I mean? Like, beatings don't replace talking. Beatings don't replace making sure I understand what I did wrong. Beatings don't replace instilling understanding. Instilling, you know what, Jess, this is what you did. This is why it was wrong. And as your mom, I feel like I need you to understand why this is wrong, because if you go out into the world and you do this, you carry this behavior out into the world, you're going to get worse than this beating. You're going to get, like, what you're going to get out in the world is going to be 10 times worse than a couple of hits from my belt. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not okay. It's just not okay. The way that our Caribbean parents just would reprimand us, and I'm not just talking about my mom. I'm talking about just Haitian moms in general. I've seen just the beatings, and now, like, with my platform these last couple of years, like, I've made a joke out of a lot of different things, but this week, just certain things happened to me, and I was like, you know what? As a child, I had to deal with certain things. As a grown-up, I'm not going to deal with this. As a child, I had to deal with certain things being said to me. I had to deal with, embarrassment. Like, Caribbean parents, will do this thing. Like, I know a lot of y'all can relate to this. You'll do something wrong. Your mama comes home. Mets-toi à genoux. And for those of you who don't know what à genoux means, you know, you're on your knees. Mets-toi à genoux. And they come and they start to hit you. And as a reflex, you go and you stop it. Bitch, when you do this, to a Haitian parent while they beating you, that means you hit them. Okay? If you do this, you hit them. Okay? And what happens is once you hit them, everybody gonna know that you hit them. Okay? She gonna call your aunties, your cousins. She gonna call the deaconesses at the church. She gonna call the pastor. She gonna have a reunion. She gonna have a prayer meeting for everybody down at the church to pray for you. The family gonna be calling you. Wow, you hitting your mom? Like, that is toxic. So when I say toxic, it's like things like that. It is toxic. You are hitting me. Now, am I saying you shouldn't hit me? As a child, I'm not going to tell you not to hit me, but as an adult, just thinking back, there were some times when I was like, okay, that wasn't necessary. It wasn't necessary. Okay? Now, I'm protecting my skull. I ain't hitting you, sis. I'm just saying, kind of try to keep the beating over here somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Kind of direct it over here, maybe on my back, but damn, like, let's not, you know what I'm saying? Let's not, you know what I mean? And that's already embarrassing. Now you calling everybody, you telling everybody I hit you. Now I got to deal with the embarrassment, the shame, because you already know you can't explain yourself. But that's another thing. A Haitian parent asks you to, what? Pour qui ça ou t'es fait ça? Pour qui ça ou t'es fait ça? Pour qui ça ou t'es fait ça means, why did you do this? So as a human being, if you ask me a question, I'm going to answer you, right? You try to answer it. You talking back. You asked me why I did what I did. I'm trying to explain to you why I did it, ma'am. Then next thing you know, they calling everybody, telling everybody how you disrespectful. You don't know how to take order. You talking back. Like, it's toxic behavior. Then there's always I feel like Caribbean parents, I'm gonna kind of change the direction here. So a lot of you guys know, like, I grew up in a very, very religious household. Everything is Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Everything is Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And for Haitians predominantly, I don't know if I can speak for anybody else who's Caribbean. I don't know if I can speak for Africans. But Haitians love church. Going to church is a sacred ritual. Like, we are in church every day. There was a point in my life where I thought I hated God. Like, I'm going to just be totally honest with you. I was like, I hate God. I hate this nigga. Like, I hate God. God was this person who I had to go visit 6 times a week. God was this person who didn't want me to have fun. God was this person who didn't want me to think for myself. God was this person who had all these rules and no room to budge. God was this person who had no mercy. This is how God is pitched to you as a child in a Haitian household and in a lot of Caribbean households. And I think that a lot of my African people who are following me can relate to this. I literally hated God because I thought that God was someone who was looking down on me, making sure that I am miserable at all times. I'm miserable. I have to walk this fine line. If I move out of this fine line, I'm going to hell, bitch. And I'm going to hell with gasoline drawers on. So, everything is, you going to hell. You going to hell. You're not a child of God. You're not a child of... And as a child, I just really struggled with that because simultaneously, church was a place where I found out that I could sing. I found my talents. I remember just getting up one day on the drums and I started playing the drums. I had watched someone play the drums for forever. And one day the drum player didn't show up and I just got on the drums and I started playing drums. I found a lot of my talent in the church. I started singing. I started forming choirs together. I was 9 years old when I formed my first choir with 4 kids. And we would go from church to church to church and sing. But at the same time, I hated God. I hated God because I felt like if I didn't just stay in this little box, that I was not what God wanted me to be. But as I grew older, I started having my own relationship with God. And I stopped going to my mother's church and I started going to other churches and I remember I went to a Jamaican church for years and years and years, and they were very, very Caribbean centric, but just they had a different message. It was like, oh, God really loves you. Oh, guess what? In the Bible, there's not just the Old Testament. There's the New Testament when Jesus came in, because God was doing all these different things. I feel like Haitian parents really model their parenting after God, the God of the First Testament, the God who would burn cities down, the God who had no mercy. And they forget that there is this whole other section of the Bible where Jesus came in because what God was doing over here was not working. It doesn't mean that God is not a good God. It doesn't mean that God is not a perfect God. But God had the understanding to say, you know what? This is not working. So let me send my son down. Let me send my son down and let me stop operating in Nazi-like behavior and let me send my son down and let's operate in love. That's why Jesus is when the disciples, I know there's a part in the Bible when the disciples was like, well, what is the most important commandment? And Jesus was like, I want to give you guys a new commandment. And this commandment is the most important commandment of them all. You know what that commandment is? It is to love thy neighbor as you love yourself. It is to love each other as you love yourself. That's why even in today's society, when you see so many people hating different people, you want to hate the gays, you want to hate transsexuals, you want to hate this person because they smoke weed, or you want to hate this person because they're black, you want to hate this person because they're white. People have forgotten that the entire message of Christianity is to love. It's to love. And I feel like a lot of Caribbean parents don't operate in love. They operate in fear. I'm going to make you scared of me to make sure that you do what I tell you to do. And that's not it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Especially when you get to a point in your life when you're an adult and you paying your own bills. I don't want to hear that fear shit. The fear tactics, it doesn't work. I feel like a lot of parents use the church and they use God to instill this fear into their kids, and you're not building a relationship with your kids. You are building fear. That's not respect. Haitian parents love to Ephesians 6 chapter. What's Ephesians 6 chapter? Child, I forgot. I'm a part-time Christian child. My bad, God. I love God. Do you love God? What's wrong with you? Hold on. Ephesians chapter 6. Is it Ephesians chapter 6 verse 6 that says, honor thy mother and thy father, for this is right? So they love to tell you, Ephesians chapter 6, honor your father and thy mother. That's what the Bible says. You're supposed to honor me. So even if whatever I tell you, you're supposed to honor that. And that's not how that works. They love to use that verse. And then they always forget what, I think that, I don't know if it's the verse, I gotta look it up, but I feel like there's a verse either before Ephesians chapter 6 or the verse after that says, but parents do not provoke your children. I think that's what, it says something like that. I'd have to look it up. And I remember when I got old enough to start reading my Bible on my own, I wasn't a slave no more. When you go back and you look at it, it's like Caribbean parents have a lot of slave tactics that they use in their parenting, which is very toxic. When you look at slaves, they were given God. They were told, this is what the Bible says. This is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to obey your master, obey this, obey that. And a lot of the slaves couldn't read. So whatever they were told, that's what they took at face value. And I feel like a lot of Caribbean parents, they know you as a child, you don't have that type of understanding. You're not going to go research for yourself. So whatever your parent tells you, that's it. But I remember when I got older and I started reading the Bible for myself. And I remember one time my mom was like, oh, Ephesians chapter 6. And I was like, yeah, but what does the verse before that say? Do not provoke your children. It says something like that. Parents, do not provoke your children. And I said that to her and she was upset because it was like, sis, you be doing a lot of provoking, sis. The same way God telling me to honor you, God telling you not to provoke me as your child. She ain't want to hear that shit. Oh, nah. She ain't want to hear that shit. Nah, sis. We gonna have to, if we gonna read the verse, if we gonna read the Bible, you need to know the context and what you're reading. You gotta know the context. What is the context? God wasn't just talking to kids. It's a whole chapter. What is the context of that chapter? She ain't want to hear that. She ain't want to hear that. I feel like a lot of just Caribbean parents, African parents, they use God in their parenting the same way like God was used against slaves. And I hate to make it, I don't know if I'm sounding dramatic here, or if it's a reach, but like it's a reach that makes sense. Because when you think about it, it's like you use it to your advantage. You use it in the context you want to use it. You use it to make sure that you're keeping someone in line. And that is not the message that God gives. Provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them in the nurture and bring them in the nurture. Exactly. So you're not supposed to provoke and you're supposed to be nurturing. Beating, using scare tactics, embarrassment, that's not nurturement. That's not the message that God, that's not what Jesus died for. When you look at Jesus's life, like Jesus was all about love. Jesus was about nurturing. Jesus was about, let me help you understand. That's why he had parables. He didn't just want to tell people, do this, do that. No, he had parables. Let me give you parables so I can give you an example of how you're supposed to put this into action and what will be the results. A lot of parents just don't do that. Especially Caribbean, they just don't do that. And so I say all that to say another thing too before I go into why I posted. I feel like being that Caribbean parents will use God and, for the scare tactics and, it's just it's just, I don't know. It's just, if you show any signs of independent thought, if you show any signs of, you know what, I want to go this way in life, it's hard for them to support you. It is so hard for them to support you because what you're doing is not godly. What you're doing is, the other people at the church are going to see what you're doing and they're going to think this and that. And oh my God, you're doing this, you're just saying that. And the people at the church, they're going to, I'm embarrassed now. My name, like my fame at the church is going to go down, and it's like, they can't support you. And it's like, my God, we are not in the 1700s. People are not trying to walk the same line. Like, people, we're all different. We have different thoughts. We have different paths. We have different careers. Like, especially being in America, look at all the different things, especially as women. Look at all the different barriers that women have pushed, Black women have pushed. We're not all nurses. We're not all doctors. We're not all dentists. We're not all accountants. We're not all engineers. Some of us are makeup artists, and we're doing makeup for Beyonce. We're doing makeup for, Alicia Keys. Like, some of us are stylists. We make clothes, and we're making clothes for movies, for television sets. Some of us are actors, and we're acting in Broadway. Like, there's so many different ways to be successful. And I feel like if you don't walk this fine line that they built for you, it's hard for them to be like, you know what, I'm proud of you. Congratulations. They can't do that because they're thinking about what everybody else is going to think. Meanwhile, you know what everybody else is thinking? They're thinking about what you're thinking. While you're worried about being embarrassed, Saint Angela over there, she's worried about being embarrassed too because her child doesn't want to be a nurse. Her child wants to be a dancer. And while you over there, she embarrassed, Michael Lunch, she's doing the same shit. All of y'all are thinking about what the other person is thinking. And you're stifling each other. You're stifling your kids. Your kids are miserable. You're miserable. Why? Because you want people at the church to revere you in a way. You want people at the church to think about you in a way. Fuck them people. I had to tell my mom that like months ago when I first started my journey on here and I was putting content out. I didn't tell my mom because I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear, oh, you saying that. I didn't want to hear that shit. Listen, I'm doing what I want to do. And people at the church started getting it. And I guess that's when she heard about it. And she was not happy. She wasn't happy. But I remember there was one conversation we had and she was saying, oh, every day. And I was like, listen. You keep talking to me about Santel. You keep talking to me about sister, what's her name? What is her child doing? Is her child on BET? Is her child on red carpets interviewing this celebrity and that celebrity? Is her child touring the country doing stand-up? Is her child having sponsorship with different companies? Is her child, speaking on panels? What is her child doing? And I mean, she had to be quiet. I'm just like, why do you care? Why do you care so much about bitches who can't even feed themselves? And here you have your child who left Miami 3 years ago with nothing and was able to make something out of nothing. Why can't you be like, well, you know what? My child did this, that, and the third on her own. Why? Because I said Zozo in a video? Who the fuck cares? So what prompted me to put that post yesterday is, I told you guys I have an EP coming out. And I finished it Tuesday. And I sent it to a handful of my friends. And I was like, you know what, let me send it to the family. I really wasn't going to send it to my mom because I was like, I really just don't want to hear it. Like, I don't want to hear it. A couple weeks ago, my mom came and I had let her hear some songs. And, she just really had nothing positive to say. It was just, oh, why do you have to talk about this? Or why you have to? And it was just like, okay, let me turn this shit off because, I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. So I'm going to just turn this off and we're just going to cut this conversation short. But I was sending it to family members and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to send it to everybody and not send it to my mom. You know what I mean? So I'm going to send it to my mom. And, it comes out in 2 weeks. For those of you who keep asking me, I can't send it to you. Diamond, I see you asking me, I can't send it to you. It's coming out in 2 weeks. But the intro to my EP is a sound bite from my most popular, like this video that I have is still going viral, and it was the first video I talked about Zozo in, which was last summer, late July, and I was like, yo, I I don't understand when I go to Zozo, I put money, I put my pussy out and the motherfucker don't want to eat it. He's chewing on my pussy like it's a carpet, whatever. I'm just saying all this funny shit. I didn't think that video was going to go so viral, but it did. And when we were putting the EP together, my manager was like, hey, what's your most viral video? And I sent it to him. And literally, when he sent me back the EP, he used a soundbite from it as the intro to my EP, and it literally goes into the first song. My first song is called Fill Me Up, and it talks about me just, I haven't had sex in such a long time, which I haven't had sex in a long time. I've been dreaming about it, and this is what I want. I'm just talking about these things. And so I sent her the EP. I sent her and my aunt that's in Canada the EP, and my mom, right now this week she went to Canada. And she calls me the next day. Mind you, this is the day before I go to Canada. She calls me the next day, and make a long story short, she calls me and she's like, hey, I really, as a child of God, and as your mom, and this, and she's giving me this big spiel before she tells me that she hates the intro. So she's like, I hate the intro. I hate the first song. Nobody's gonna listen to your music, and the music is not gonna go anywhere. It's not gonna be successful. Nobody's like, she's just telling me how it's just not gonna go anywhere. And you have to understand, like, as a child, no matter what you do for a living, no matter how old you get, no matter where you go, no matter how many people know your name, you always want your parents to be supportive. Because I kid you not, when she was telling me this, I just was quiet. I just let her go. I just let her say what she was saying. And she was like, do you have anything to say? I was like, no. She's like, are you sure? I'm like, no, I have nothing to say. She's like, are you sure that I'm like, no, I don't have anything to say. Well, I just told you I don't like it. And I asked her, I was like, well, did you listen to the entire EP? Was there anything on there that you liked? Was there anything on there that you liked? Because here's the thing. This is what I wanted to do my entire life. And here I am. I finally have an EP. I'm finally on a label. I finally have a body of work. I finally can say, wow, I'm going to release music. That in itself is a huge accomplishment. It's a huge accomplishment. But I'm even going to share something with you guys. I even told her, I was like, I finally have this body of work. I said, do you remember where I was in the beginning of this year? For those of you who been following me for a while, I really want you to know, going into this year, I was so depressed. I was so depressed. And depression for me is something that it comes in waves. It comes in waves for me. It's something that I've had to deal with a lot in my life. This year, I started off being on a television show, and I had to watch the show, and I had to watch how everything that happened wasn't shown. So many things happened, and it wasn't shown. Things were flipped around. Things were left out. Things people said to me wasn't shown. For whatever the reason, for whatever intent, literally the person that people had followed for years and years and years turned on the show, and it was like, that's not the. I filmed so many scenes with my family, fun scenes. None of that was shown. I filmed scenes where people were supporting, yeah, this happened, it was fucked up. None of that was shown. I had to watch that, and then I had to log into my Instagram, I had to log into my social media and see comments of people telling me that I'm a person that I know I'm not. I had to deal with that. Do you know how many days? Literally, there were days where I cried for days. There were weeks I cried for days. But I didn't let anybody see that. I would still go to work, still go to BT, still do what I have to do, still, upload whatever. I would literally have to mask that. I would call my mom crying, something I never would do. I would call my mom crying and, ask her to pray for me. Like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to go on. I don't know how to do this. Like, it was just so hurtful. And I get it, because social media is social media. People will be in your comments and they will call you a bitch. They will call you this and the third. Then they see you out in public and they ask me for pictures. Literally, I go out in public, sister. People will literally be in your comments and call you everything with a child of God, and they see you in person, and they will treat you differently. But people who don't have a platform, I think a lot of times you don't understand that it's not just one bad comment. It's thousands and thousands and thousands of people saying things they don't know what really happened. And I can't really say what really happened because I'm under contract and I'm getting text messages every day threatening me, telling me, you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that because you were on live saying what really happened. And I had to deal with a lot. And I should have been like, fuck this. I give up. There were so many days I was like, I'm just going to delete everything. And just whatever, I have this amount saved. Like, I can go on for like 2 years and just figure out what I want to do. And I still pushed through that. I still pushed through that. And I still said, I'm going to do what I want, what I've always dreamt to do. And I finally got a label. I still went to the studio. I still pushed through that. And when you do things like that, you want support. And do you know what it's like to push through a really dark time and not have support from somebody, from the person who birthed you? Do you know what that's like? All because you said a couple words that they didn't agree with. And I'm like, did you listen to the entire thing? Did you listen to the entire thing? Did you listen to the fact that that's literally the intro in one song where I'm talking about this? Did you listen and see all the things? There's a song on there where I'm speaking Creole. Did you listen? No, you didn't. You didn't. But yet you want to come tell me I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. And it's like, why? Why? Like, why is it so hard for Caribbean parents to just support you when you step outside the box? I don't know what it is. It's like, if you're not, God is not pleased, God is this. When I started having my own relationship with God, I realized that God is a creative God. That's what God does. God creates. God injects creativity into us. God wants us to have our own thoughts. God gave us personalities. God gave us, God wants us to create. We were created to be creative. Why is it that you just cannot support me being creative, expressing myself? I'm not hurting nobody. I'm not making music that's gonna make people go out and kill people. I'm not making music that's gonna. It's. These are my thoughts, and a lot of people can relate. A lot of people can relate. Why is it that you're so willing to just, instead of building a relationship, you'd rather build fear? And that's what prompted me to post that, because it was just like, you know what? I can't. So we had that conversation, and I just was like, you know what? I was like, I really don't want to go to Canada. I don't want to go to Canada because I just know I'm not going to have a good time. I know I'm not going to have a good time. I was supposed to be there till Tuesday. My cousin was like, no, still come to Canada, still come to Canada. I'm like, okay, fine, I go to Canada. And it's like, it's still the same thing. And it's like, you know what? I'm out. The thing is, I feel like one thing about Caribbean parents, like, you know, me and my siblings, we've all like talked, and we've tried to have interventions with our mom, and then, you know, I didn't have my dad in my life, and so, you know, I had to deal with that. But I think that you get to the point where you have to, unfortunately, just accept that this is how your parent is. Like, this is just how your parent is, and this is it. You just have to take it with a grain of salt. You know, that's what everybody says. Like, well, you know, that's how Haitian parents are. Haitian parents are this, that, and the third. It's just how they are. And I'm to the point where I don't have to accept that. I don't. Now, for whatever the reason, you're thinking that I'm going to come up there and you're going to make me miserable for a couple of days, and you're not, because guess what? I can go back to the airport, purchase an airline ticket, and go home. I don't give a damn how much money it is. I will pay the money because my peace is priceless. I don't have to take certain things anymore. I don't have to take the you're going to go tell my aunt this and that. Because it's like, literally, I get there and it's like, the greetings that I'm receiving is not the same greetings that I would receive on a regular, because you done told this person, that person about our conversation. You done told them your version of, so now they not fucking with me. And you know, as a child, you have to deal with that. Your mom done told your aunt, your mom done told your uncle that this, that, and the third, you done did that. So you have to take their treatment. But guess what? As a grown up who pays my own bills, who gets money and provides for myself, guess what? I don't have to take it. So guess what? Y'all want to act like that? I'm out. I'm out. That's it. That's it. I hate that I feel this way. I really do. I hate that I feel this way. You know, I know my mom is not a bad person, and I know that a lot of you guys can relate, and your parents are not bad people. It's just, I don't know what school of parenting Caribbean parents went to. I don't know who taught them that this was the way, that it's their way or the highway, no support, no this, no that. And it's like, I don't know who taught them that, but it just, and so someone just said they don't know any better. And I get it, but it's like, it comes to a point where, well, you know what? Because I know better, I have to guard myself, because I do not want to carry this on to my future children. My kids don't deserve that. My kids, they deserve to know that I love them at all times. Caribbean parents just have a hard time saying I love you. They have a hard time saying congratulations. They have a hard time saying I support you. I don't want to carry that into my relationship with my kids. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have kids that are walking around thinking, damn, my mama don't like nothing I do. My mama don't support nothing I do. No, I don't want that. And I'm going to break that. And I'm so glad I don't have kids yet, because I feel like I'm just truly not ready mentally. It's not even financially. I'm just not ready mentally, because I have to make sure that I'm in a healthy place where I do not carry that into my relationship with my kids. I don't want my kids to feel like that. Do I want my kids to be my friends? Hell no. Now, hell no. No. But I don't want to torture my kids' hearts. It's torture on the heart to always feel like you're never enough. You're never doing what's right. You're not godly. You're not making me proud. You're embarrassing me. That is constant torture. It's torture. Why do you care? Why does it? An intro stopped you from listening to the entire body of my work. Why? Because you're scared that when these people at the church hear it, that they're gonna feel like your daughter is this, that, and the third. Bitch, they sucking dick down. They like these hoes at your church. They sucking dick too. They suck dick. Christians suck dick. That's what they do. Christians suck dick. What Christian you know don't suck dick? Loving God don't stop anybody from sucking dick. to procreate and to get sucked. Okay? Christians suck dick. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Who cares? What does me talking about getting dick down, what does that have to do with the price of rice in China? It don't do nothing. It don't stop nothing. It don't stop time. It don't stop the weather. It doesn't stop nothing. You know why? Because dick gonna get sucked regardless. Pussy gonna get sucked regardless. Pussy gonna get fucked regardless. And guess what? I'm here because you suck dick. Did you not? I remember one time we had a conversation. I was like, okay, wait a minute. So how did I get here? Did you suck dick or not? Did you get fucked or not? You fucked. I'm here. Why is it more important to save face than to be supportive to your kids? I think that's just my main thing with just Caribbean parents. It's like they want to save face rather than have a relationship with you. They want to save face. They want to, do all these things and be so toxic and just, I don't know, be passive aggressive to make sure that you do everything that they tell you to do, exactly how to do, instead of having a relationship with you. How many of you guys who have Caribbean parents or African parents can really say you have a relationship with your parents? And when I say relationship, it's not, hey, can you pick this up at the grocery store for me? Or can you go pick up sister so-and-so and take her down to the church for me? Or, oh, did you do your homework? Or, how many of you guys really have a relationship with your parents? How many of y'all really have a relationship with your parents where you feel like you can call your parents and say, last night was a blur. Last night was a blur. I was with this nigga and this happened and did it. I don't know if I'm pregnant. Like how many of y'all can call your parents and say that and without second guessing it? To those of you who have that, God bless. God bless. But a lot of us, unfortunately, don't have that. And of course, with me, there's been things that I've been able to say to my mom, conversations that I've had with my mom. That's only because my mom will tell you, I've always walked to the beat of my own drum. Like, it got to a point where she knew she just couldn't really hold me down like that. I was going to say what I wanted. I was going to do what I wanted. I was going to do it how I wanted. Like, I just got to a point, I was like, okay, no, I'm sorry. Like, I'm a butterfly. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. And, there's been times, and I think I told you guys that. There's been times I've asked my mom, have you ever sucked dick? And I remember the first time I asked her, I was like, Mom, have you ever sucked dick? Oh my God, why would you ask me that? And I'm like, it's just dick. It's just dick. Mom, I tried some weed. And she'll go crazy, but it's like, I would do that because I wanted to get her into that frame of mind where we're going to talk about these things. You're not just gonna wake up one day and I'm in jail somewhere and then you find out that I've been running a drug cartel for years. No, I want you to know who I am. I want you to know who I am. I don't care if the church don't want you. I don't care. You're going to know who I am. And I would do that. I would go up to her and I would say the craziest things. Yo, Mom. And she'd be like, oh, Miss Ami. And she'll call people. Oh, Jessie, it's okay. I would take it, but I wanted her to know who I was. I don't want you to just pop up one day and, oh my God, Jessica's. No, you know who I am. You know who I am. And unfortunately, a lot of us just can't relate because, Caribbean parenting is just like, you know what I'm saying? Somebody said, Haitian, it's not your parents' job to be your friends. It's not your parents' job to be your friends, but it's your parents' job to know who you are. That's the difference. I've never looked for my mom to be my friend. But it's my mom, it's your parents' job to know who you are. And if your relationship with your parent is always do this, do that, you're not gonna do this, you're not gonna do that. If that's always your relationship with your parent, they don't know who you are. They don't know what you're thinking. They don't know who you are as a person. They don't know, like, you might end up somewhere and they're like, how did you get there? How did you get there? Well, how did I get there? You wouldn't have known because you don't talk to me. You're always telling me what to do. You're always using fear tactics. You're always embarrassing me. You don't take the time to get to know me as your child. So it's not that your parents should be your friend, but your parents should make it their duty to know who you are. That's why a lot of times you'll see these people, for instance, you'll see these fucking serial rapists on fucking death row and their parents are pleading for them. That's not my son. It is your son, bitch. Your son was cutting up bodies in your basement, Helen, and you didn't know that because you didn't talk to your child. As a child, when you bought your son toys, did you notice how your son would cut up his toys? Like, that shit don't come out of nowhere. Did you notice how your son would bully other kids and beat other kids up? And that shit don't come out of nowhere, bitch. Your child is a serial fucking lunatic. That's why you have Jeffrey Dahmer's parents. Bitch, Helen, Jeffrey was cutting up niggas. That shit ain't come out of nowhere. Okay? Jeffrey was cutting niggas up. He was sucking their dick and then he was cutting their ass up. Helen, you had to see that coming. If you didn't see that coming, it's because you didn't know your child. Not saying you should be friends with little Jeffrey, but bitch, for Jeffrey to grow up and be cutting up 60 niggas, you failed as a parent. I'm sorry. You didn't know who your child was. You didn't know who your child was. Sorry, Helen. You didn't know who your child was. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's not your parents' job to be your friend, but it's your parents' job to know who you are as a child. Someone said, nah, you can know your child and be a delusional parent. Well, that's another thing too. Well, that's another thing. But I'm sorry, I feel like a parent, for instance, like the example I just gave you, ain't no way to be delusional about that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's certain grown-ups that do certain things. And it's like, no, your parents, you weren't delusional. You just didn't want to accept that shit. Some people do talk to their child and they're so friendly that easy as I'm gonna talk to their child, but I lost the comment. So friendly they can't guide them. I don't get it. I don't get that comment. Some people talk to their child, but they're so friendly they can't guide them. Okay, so that means you're trying to be your child's friend instead of getting to know them. I feel like if you're so friendly, you're looking to be your child's friend, and that's not. Being a good parent does take balance, but if you're constantly trying to be you're being your child's friend. And again, I'm saying it's like you don't have to be your child's friend to be a good parent. Or you have to know your child. I guess that's what I'm trying to say with that. Damn, Instagram is gonna cut me off. Should I go back live and we do question and answers? Let me know if you want to do that because they're about to cut me off. There are also parents who are jealous of their own children. That's a whole other live. That is a whole other live. Do you guys want me to cut it off and go? Okay, so I'm gonna cut this off. I'm gonna come back and I'll let some of you guys call in and we'll I understand what you're saying. Be supportive. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just be supportive. Okay, so I'll cut this off and we'll go into. Some of y'all can call in and we'll talk. All right, let me end it.